Namaste, good evening everyone, and thank you for showing up. As Dr. Aditya gently and nicely, wisely reminded us, as long as two or more, we stand a great chance. While it is a fun thing to say that, but I think it is also important, and I sincerely thank for all of you to showing up here every Thursday, every Sunday. It reminds me, like one saint, he was invited by Brahma Kumaris. So he was a very wise person. So and all of those were very interested soul also. They wanted to find something. So they said, Swamiji, please satisfy our thirst. We are very hungry. We are thirsty for God. So he asked, he was very witty. So he asked, do you want me to satisfy your thirst? Or want to make it even more stronger? So they were uproar, it's like, make it even more stronger. I feel that is our job here every Thursday and Sunday, or every time when we come for any satsang. It's like we got to fuel the fire which somehow has been awakened within each one of us. Just the chant that we sang, this is Sri Yukteswarji's favorite chant. And it talks about desire, my great enemy. We had a monk, I think, Aditya ji will remember him, Ricardo Bholenath. He had tattoos all over his body. One of the tattoos was Ichha Meri Shatru Badi. Literal translation of desire, my great enemy. And I want to talk a little bit about that. The book that Swamiji wrote starts with the allegory of Gita. And I have this desire to talk about that someday. But here you are now. So I'm going to satisfy that desire thanks to my captive audience here. And talking about desire, the greatest enemy. But, so you all know, you probably have read the Gita and then a little bit about the allegory also. The character which is represented by desire is Duryodhana himself. And I think most of you, we will show you the Mahabharata just for the sake of it. We need to organize that as well. But we know the story. The whole point of the allegory of the Gita that Master gave, it is good to read about it, but the power of that is experienced when we realize that inside. We all say that the Mahabharata is happening inside, apna bhitar bhi ho raha hai, but that is more of a intellectual answer. When you see, oh my goodness, it is actually happening. Then we go into the story also, because the story, the end of the story is very beautiful. It goes through many ups and downs, but we know. And then that story actually gives us a cue as we navigate in our own battle, which is happening inside as well. So I won't go into the entire allegory today, but the desire, the character of Duryodhana, we would like to look at a little bit today. And the Duryodhana was a king of the Kurus, not like just one of the soldiers. He held the power. And then this chant as we sang, desire my great enemy. Do you find at times that's the truth? Does desire trouble you? No, not everybody. No? Yes? Yes. He's making it sound like it's a big... See, like even like the word, I had a problem with that translation. Ichha has a very mild connotation. Doesn't seem like it's like a big foe. Ichha, you can sit there, we'll deal with it. Desire, maybe it's just a conditioning. It feels like it is something very formidable about it. And that is why, again, in the story, if you go, Duryodhana represents that thing. And Duryodhana was a very handsome character. So like Ichha, or like, there's something attractive about it. But there was one thing when Pandavas returned from the Vanvas and they say, okay, let's both coexist happily without any conflict. You just give us like some portion of the land where we can quietly sit and then relax. But what was the response that Duryodhana gave, you remember? I said, like, not even an amount which can be on the tip of a needle I will give you. And what does that actually represent if you say inside, when we talk about desire, I would like you to consider the time when you actually felt something, even a little tiny things like an ice cream. If you feel very strongly about it, it doesn't let you do any small thing. at some point, somewhere you have experienced this कि when कुछ अभी करना ही है, all of a sudden our entire world shrinks around just that. Nothing else can hold in the way. And that's the power. This, what is the way to deal with it? Is satisfy. What's the big deal? Yes, if it is an ice cream cone, we can satisfy. And that's the next thing that story tells us. Ki it is not that this is the end of it. One is finished, the next day, next one is always there. We're satisfied, okay, we're relaxing for a moment. The next is, I am here. And we continue, like, when will this stop? Now we have sort of become so-called spiritual. No? So we don't go run away. We at least are aware that I shouldn't be going, satisfying all this desire. Now we're fighting, we're resisting. Now we say that this resistance is hopeless because it is not going to let us stay quietly. So where do I go with this? And that's the real battle. It's not an easy thing. Even ice cream, if we don't eat it, it creates a... Think about many other things also. Yet, this is such a very thing that we don't want. I want to tell you how Arjuna looks at him. Here, Arjuna. Now this is the first time when Krishna is saying ki we got to fight. To him you have to fight. He says, Arjuna, seeing the enemy up close, confronts the distressing fact that many of those he is about to fight are members of his own family. After all, the Pandavas grew up side by side with their cousins, the Kauravas. As children, they played together, argued, and squabbled together, after the manner of growing boys everywhere. The bonds they formed, though not all of them friendly, were nevertheless deep and strong. It is an important point for us to look, because this is very easy to sing that chant and we put that desires in some category that they are our enemies, but that is not actually Arjuna looks at them. They look very familiar, very deep bond. So I'll take a little tangent here. You guys have all watched Finding Happiness? Yeah? Yes. So Juliet, some point when she goes, I think this is the first time she's visiting the village. And then all of a sudden she has this question, these people look good, but I'm not too bad either. I'm paraphrasing that, I don't exactly remember the quote, but then she has this question, I am happy, ain't I? It's like a hesitant question. And actually, I would like you to ask this question yourself. Are we happy? And if we're happy, what is it that brings us happiness? And you will see many of the times, that happiness word is a little confused, it is a little broad. What is it that I do when I'm feeling something and I want that happiness, I need it now? What is it? Many a times we run after pleasures. Desire is what? Satisfying and fulfillment of our pleasures. Because whatever it is, that ice cream make me feel, okay, I am feeling better now. And then the next. So is happiness pleasure? Absolutely not. And yet, what we have been doing so far, not necessarily consciously now, but as habit, whenever we need something, when we need to feel good, we generally end up chasing our desire. It could be very personal, but that is what. And that's why he says, I cannot slay. Why would I slay? He promised me and every time delivered the little tiny happiness I was seeking. He was always there. Yes, it didn't last, but he was there. I cannot go and fight them. Why? Why would I fight? And that's why it is very interesting when Arjuna says, these are the tendencies I'm going to slay. But even now, they feel very familiar. You see, when situations go a little here and there, this is not, we feel like, Arjuna is so sweet. Isn't it? That seems like my brother, I have not. But it isn't. There is one way to look at it is he's just trying to find his comfort zone. Well, Arjuna is saying, see, if you want to go that direction, you have to come out of your comfort zone. pleasure versus happiness. Pleasure we can continue, but that won't lead to where we want to go. And that is where the actual battle starts. I won't go into the allegory, but there's a fierce combination. You see, like Duryodhana, you combine him with Krishna, that is like an unbeatable combination. To beat that, actually, all the five, or at least four of the Pandavas had participated, and their mother. And then that was not enough, and that's why Krishna had to interfere. All of that, such a strong resistance. And why? It is all our creation. We have been dependent on that. We have been dependent on that. Now, something within us tells that is not the journey we have to take. So where do we go then? That is the alternative. Then what is happiness actually? If it is not pleasure, what is true happiness? When is it that we experience it? And that's why we understand it. We meditate, or even for that matter, they say something as simple as that. You do something for someone else. There's a strange happiness there. It is not of the texture of exciting. When you go and then do charity for that matter. I used to run a school. So we had a company right opposite. It was a school for underprivileged children. So the company CEO used to watch the children playing. So one day he came and he said, okay, we want to donate you something. Perfect. We were looking for some funds. They didn't give us much. But I said, like, why? What motivated you? I said, I want my people to come and then do something with the children. I said, like, why? What will happen? I said, feel good. We were very annoyed with that answer, but there is a truth to it, isn't it? You go and do something, it makes you feel better. That is of the nature of Ananda. It is not pleasure. Anytime when we come here, we are organizing Seva days, but all of you have been serving here or somewhere in some capacity. I remember when I first came to Ananda, I took a long time before I take any diksha or anything. What I would do is just like, I'll say, come, what can I do? I set up chairs, and then whatever was happening, I was there to participate in little things here and there. Something within me was fulfilled. Was I excited? Never. I don't remember being excited that way, but something within me was fulfilled. I was in a state of Ananda, we can say. No pleasures were required that moment. So we cannot take pleasures like that on like a head to head, you see, because they're fulfilling something within ourselves. Only when we find the same fulfillment in a much different way. Swamiji has this song, Christmas, Christ child asleep. He talks a very nice paragraph. He says this, our pleasures and pains, our losses and gain have kept us bound. The ropes of yearning hemmed us round. We have made ourselves sort of a victim to them. We run after them. And even today, if you pay attention, that's what I would like you to invite in the day. Anything that I'm doing, you see, it is a very personal thing. What drives me is not the same thing that will drive you or anybody else. What is my motivation? Even for that matter, I could be helping Avinash. But the motivation behind that is through that I will gain something. I can call it whatever. You see, that's why the happiness is a very elusive word. If that is the intention, it is going in the wrong direction. And so that is a day-to-day or like moment to moment. What is my action and what is the true motivation behind them? When we put like, I have no interest, in some ways we sort of keep ourselves aside, a better space opens up, and that is the foundation for Ananda. And in meditation we can get a glimpse of it. That is a complete doorway to freedom. But I am saying even low-hanging fruits, like doing seva. Here maybe Bhavniji and then Adityaji had like a huge responsibility, you see. But some of us, we don't. We can come here completely free and say, what do I need to do? Vacuum, all right. Clean, went home. There was no exchange. It's not that I'm hoping that she will come and say, very beautifully vacuum you did today. Nothing like that. See, in that moment you will feel and you will experience something. That is the moment of freedom, because you experience this is the doorway by which I can find fight this. I have an alternative now. I do not need to seek pleasure. I have found a way to seek the true happiness. I'll share a story. Where would this go? There is a very nice documentary on penguins. I'm very fascinated by their lifestyle. Or maybe the documentary is made such a way. But their life is very, very, very difficult actually. Very dedicated. They can't fly, huh? Penguin, March of the Penguin. And then I think Morgan Freeman is the one who narrates it. And so anyway, the bank lifestyle itself is very good, but they always go in a group. That's one of their strength. It's a community. And it's like men have a particular job, women have a particular job, and then it's all life is evolved over how you bring the next generation, but just tremendous struggle and the great sacrifice and whatnot. But I want to tell you something else. So they say, so generally what happens is all the men, they go and then they fish, they feed themselves, they come back. And then the women take turn while they are basically nurturing the babies and whatnot. This all happens in the group because that's their protection. But they say sometimes while the flock is going, let's say, towards the ocean, one penguin decides to turn and go towards the mountain. And they don't know why. Because it is certain that there is no food in the mountain. It is certain like whenever the penguin goes there, according to the rationale, that is like a certain death. And yet they say no matter how hard you try to lure him join the flock, he or she is committed. They just go. And in some ways, I think for all of us, the call has come. We have been following a flock. I do not mean the flock of other people like that, but the flock of our own conditioning. The call has come, this is not going to work out. Pleasures have kept us long bound. This is not going to work out. The other side we do not know yet entirely. Yes, it may bring, we know this won't work. We have found some glimpses. That's where we have to now consciously put our energy. This is a daily practice. We cannot wait for some miracle, Master will come and touch us and then all of us, and it won't. Daily practice. Because now I know. This is my survival. This is my requirement for my freedom. What is it that I'm going to do today? And the only condition would be this needs to bring me the actual happiness, not pleasures. It's okay, we will seek them. See, it is not an easy battle. Even the tiny ice cream, you cannot. So bigger, you will see the more you reflect, you realize like every moment our decision is mostly bound by, okay, this is going, oh, I should do this, oh, should. It is just one after the other. Sometimes it feels too much, my goodness, it's too difficult. Not looking at that, finding things which will actually bring us closer to that true experience of Ananda. And for that, we come here. For that, we create opportunities like Seva. For that is the purpose of the existence of Ananda Sangha, to create that opportunity for every one of us. Walk hand in hand, yet walking alone. Om Guru.